Support comes from Mosby Building Arts, providing exterior solutions for homes with faded, cracked, or outdated siding. Details at callmosby.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. If your list of places to dine in the St. Louis area is short on fresh spots to check out, park your ears here, because it's time for our monthly rundown of new restaurant openings and closings. Here to do that is Abby Larico, St. Louis Public Radio's morning newscaster and host of the Gateway podcast. Hello, and thanks for staying awake for this.
Always.
And of course, we have Jessica Rogan, STLPR's digital editor. Happy Friday.
Hey, Elaine.
Now, a quick disclaimer before we start. May saw more than 20 openings, so we won't get to every one of them on today's show. But fear not, you can find a complete list on our website. Just hop over to stlpr.org/new restaurants. All right, so here we go. Let's begin with Aubrey in Midtown. Jessica.
Yeah, so we talked about this a little bit last month. It was something that I was looking forward to opening because I love the space it's in. So this is formerly Small Batch. And if you haven't been there, it's just like this very beautiful black and white checkered floors, dark walls, looks like a little New York restaurant. And that is actually what the owners of Aubrey were attracted to about that space. They wanted to create this like intimate dining experience. I love on the website, if you want to go in and see the menu, you have to click a link that says indulge.
Oh.
And that's the vibe of it. Kind of a simple menu, like burger, steak. It's upscale, and I can't wait to go check it out.
Mm-hmm. And that's Aubrey in Midtown. Over in the Central West End, there is another place that seems to be inviting people to indulge as well, right?
Oh, yeah. And speaking of place-based anticipation, that's what's had me going about Noble Crown in the Central West End. This is at that beloved Euclid and Maryland intersection that has been so important in the St. Louis dining and nightlife scene, but it's seen a lot of changes in the past couple of years. And this is a perfect fit for that new iteration of the neighborhood because it's kind of engineered to highlight like what the neighborhood is. And by that I mean it's an upscale dining room bar from the St. Louis Chess Club, which is, Noble Crown, and Kevin Brennan, who's behind Brennan's and Maryland House, which have kind of come to define the neighborhood in so many ways. Kevin and his team are very detail-oriented. They focus on curating all the different elements of the experience with this kind of, like, if you know kind of vibe, but then you go and it actually turns out to be pretty comfortable and fun and laid back. So it's bringing a pretty heavy-hitting culinary team with names from the old Juniper, Cerro, Idlewolf, LeGrand's, and it looks gorgeous on the inside. And they're going to be opening an underground wine cellar and private dining concept in the coming months.
So I walked by there recently and couldn't see anything inside. Maybe I was looking at the wrong thing.
You might have been looking at any one of those corners because you have the old Coffee Cartel location, which was most recently a Blue Mercury, Kitty Corner regional, to this space. And all of it has been not boarded up, but just like windows pasted over recently as that space has undergone a transformation. It kind of felt like, what's going to happen here? Is the chess club really going to do anything with this space? And now this is what's happening. It's finally happening.
Yeah. So these two places, Aubrey and Noble Crown, sound like spots where I would be a little more conscious maybe about what I'm wearing, a little fancy. Everybody Eats Cafe and Restaurant in Benton Park. It caught my eye because I think you could dress fancy there, but it is about what they throw down. So what it says on their website is where everybody eats, which, automatically just drew me in. This is a spot that offers Southern fare. They've got a signature Cajun pasta dish as well as Creole-style gumbo. But what really caught my eye were some dishes that are named after St. Louis stars. So there's a po' boy named after boxer Corey Spinks, a burger named for cool Papa Bell, and then there's a whole Legends menu that features dishes that are named after iconic Black entertainers. So there's a Dick Gregory crab cakes, Red Fox fish and grits, and then this is probably the one that I would order, Tina Turner's shrimp and smoked Gouda grits. They also have hibachi, which is something that I wouldn't expect.
St. Louis.
And they've got live music on Wednesday nights and brunch every Sunday. So it just sounds like a party anytime you go.
Sounds like you might want to wear stretchy pants, Elaine.
Oh, sure.
That's the outfit consideration.
Or a dress, so there's no waist at all. So if we move over to University City, there's a place that has opened that is pretty straightforward in what the name of the restaurant is, right, Jessica?
Yeah, so you're talking about Cibo Italia, and Cibo is Italian for eat. So Eat Italy is what the name means. This is a new restaurant from the Michael De Pietro restaurant group, like Sugo's Spaghetteria. And the thing that I love most about this, which I don't know how the ownership group would feel about this, is that they've built it in the former Jordan's auto service space. And I just love like an auto reclaimed space in becoming a restaurant. So there's that. The menu is very like, I would say like splits the difference between Italian American and like Italian from Italy. We go there, eat now. So like pastas and pizza, and you know, a lot of actual Italian on the menu. So it looks really, really charming and like very bright and full of light wood. So very nice vibe.
That actually reminds me, yesterday we talked about some of the Landmarks Association of St. Louis's most enhanced building award winners, and Noteworthy Cafe was one of them. And it used to be, I think, an auto shop. And it's on one end of the Central West End. So it's an interesting connection there.
There's definitely like a few restaurants in St. Louis that are former auto spaces. You know, it recently closed, but like Benton Park's Station Number 3 is one.
The Fountain is a former auto showroom.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the Fountain on Locust. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Taco Buddha in Botanical Heights as well.
Oh, we're hitting upon a bit of a thread here. That's interesting. Well, Jessica, you mentioned American-style Italian food. There's also Tex-Mex style Mexican food, and there's a new spot in Winchester out in West St. Louis County, right, Abby?
Yeah, Winchester being that little space between Manchester and Baldwin. So right off Manchester Road there in West County. Guaco Taco is serving what they call elevated fresh Mex. It's a Tex-Mex concept from the same people behind Ucraft Brunch Cafe, which I know we're all big fans of at this station. And they have a big focus on fresh ingredients. And so this new spot is designed to be convenient and approachable. Jessica, you mentioning that kind of bright, open, airy space. This does kind of, at first glance, strike a fast casual tone, but it's also open for brunch, and I've heard really good things about their margaritas.
Oh, I love a margarita. Maybe we'll talk about that later. For non-alcoholic drinks, though, there's a place in the Del Mar Loop that is part of an Indianapolis-based chain. Jessica, tell us about this.
Yeah, so we have a new Yemeni coffee shop in the Del Mar Loop. So the name Muslins of the World Coffee and Pastries, MOTW. It is an Indianapolis-based chain, and their signature drink is Yemeni chai, but they also just have a lot of really lovely flavors on their menu, like a lot of different variations of cardamom drinks, like date cardamom or rose cardamom, and interestingly, empanadas, which is a little bit of a left turn, but I like it. And it's really, I think, exciting to see like so many different Yemeni coffee shops open in the region. Like, I think since we've been having this, program.
Roundup,
Yeah, like So it's just really exploded, and that's great.
I had an empanada with breakfast this morning, or as breakfast with coffee this morning, so I can confirm that's a good combo.
Yeah. And this may be a controversial take, but I really like when I can get coffee with something to eat. In the same way that if I'm going to have an alcoholic beverage, I would like something to
You
kind
need
of
to
soak
cushion
it.
that caffeine.
Yeah. I mean, my husband and I have arguments about this, not all the time, but often enough that it is a theme. That
So
has
is a
come up.
pastry enough, Elaine, or does it have to be more substantial?
If the pastry is like a scone that is not too big and not too sweet, then I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that satisfy you? You both look a little.
I mean, I always want a snack, so it sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'm down for the snack.
Okay, then we are all in the same boat. Well, one place that has reopened, and Jessica, you actually did an audio story about this, is in Tower Grove South, and there was a fire there, but it is now back. Tell us about the new Stella Blues.
Yeah. So, a little more than 2 years ago, there was a kitchen fire in Stella Blues Bar on Morgan Ford. And if you haven't been to Stella Blues Bar, that was a little more dramatic than most places because it has an open kitchen. So kitchen fire is like,
Oh,
yeah. So it really caused some damage, both from the fire itself and from smoke, and also because the owners and the staff couldn't get in to clean right away because they were waiting for it to be safe and that kind of stuff. So I talked to Zoe McKelvey, who is the bar manager before the fire and really led the charge, along with the owner Paul Choi, to revamp it and bring it back to the community. They really tried to keep it very true to the essence of the old Stella Blues. If they have this crazy gallery walls everywhere that's remained. I went there on opening day with my husband, and he was like, "It's funny how they really haven't changed anything." And I was like, "It's all new."
Wow.
So and new kitchen staff, some fun Korean American fusion dishes, and it's just really delightful to have it back. And that opening day, let me tell you, was packed. So I'm not the only one who thinks so.
Great.
We have in O'Fallon, Missouri, because there's an O'Fallon, Illinois. Mo Fallon. In Mo Fallon, there is a place that is both new and familiar. Tell us what is new about Interruption Public House and Brewery, Abby.
So this is in a space that was formerly Good News Brewing, and Sauce Magazine's reporting that it's co-owned by longtime friends and brewers Matt Fair and his fiancée Laura Meyer, and another couple. And if their engagement can survive opening a business together, then that is a great
Solid.
sign. Yes. They're bringing kind of a shared history to create this welcoming neighborhood gathering place. Essentially, it sounds like a place that they'd want to spend time. An Interruption, they say, is inspired by the idea that life's most meaningful moments often come from the unexpected pauses we take. Shared pints, spontaneous conversations, and slowing down together. So that's where the name comes from. And it's like when you are gathered with some friends and say, we should open a place where other people can join in on this. It sounds like that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
So.
And that description from Sauce Magazine really drew me in. And I noticed, too, that they'll be having Tuesday game nights. And that started just this week. And they'll be doing that over the summer. So places where people can go with their families, especially where there is beer available.
Yeah.
That's certainly something that I noticed when I moved to St. Louis that I have not seen in any of the other places that I've lived. Good News Brewing, though, has not gone away, right, Jessica?
So that's right. So Good News Brewing opened up in Ferguson in the space that was formerly Ferguson Brewing Company. So we talked about this when it was closed, kind of like a beloved neighborhood spot, closed after 15 years. And people were very sad, but then also happy to see that something would be coming to that space. So this is a franchise location. So it actually has separate owners than Interruption Public House and Brewing. It's longtime Ferguson residents who are the founders of Soulcraft, which is a nonprofit. They've been open a little bit less than a month now, and they have pizza, beer, and salads, and writing on Facebook that they are going to expand their food menu over time. So just excited to see this here.
Mm-hmm. If you're just joining us, this is our monthly new restaurants roundup. And as usual, I'm here with Abby Larico and Jessica Rogan. There are also places that represent expansions over in Grafton and in Troy. Abby, give us a quick bit of info about Boarding House Bistro.
File this one under why didn't I think of that kind of ideas. Boarding House Bistro, the original location's in O'Fallon, Illinois. Now they have another one in Grafton. Think of winery without the winery is how I would describe it. And they really want to make sure you know this is not a typical restaurant, but rather they call themselves a charcuterie bar experience. I love this because I think it's a good reminder that charcuterie can be so much more than just like a couple slices of salami and some crackers on a plate. You know, in the 2020 trend of charcuterie, wasn't just a trend. This is a great way to enjoy snacks and nosh and listen to music and have a bottle of wine or a cocktail or a beer, which they have at the bar there, that goes well with the foods that you're sampling. So they'll have small bites on the menu as well. And Boarding House, they will have guest suites. So if it's part of your Grafton tourism to actual wineries, perhaps this could be a worthy stop.
Mm-hmm. So
I love this concept. Yeah. I'm gonna go and stay overnight because why not?
Exactly.
What to you, each of you, makes a charcuterie board, more than just, stuff that is artfully placed on a plate? Jessica?
Oh, I mean, I will eat anything that's artfully placed on a plate, but I have really, there's really been a trend online this year of people putting, butcher paper over, an entire table and then putting, a table-sized charcuterie board. I'm sure they're not doing this at Boarding House Bistro because that's just, too much. But it's just a fun trend and just shows how much people like charcuterie. There's no such thing as too much.
It elevates it to me when there is something unexpected in the condiments, an interesting mustard or a different type of jam or preserve. I think that's always fun.
All right, taking some notes here. Market in Maine is a place I want to make sure we mention, and that is in Troy, because Gina and Evan Buchholz of Cleveland Heath in Edwardsville had to go online to reassure people that they were not going anywhere. That post got 446 likes on Facebook, and there were many people who were really excited about seeing this couple set up in Troy. And for those who maybe have not been, and I'm among that number, Cleveland Heath focuses on gourmet comfort food. And it is a restaurant that I've heard a great deal about since I moved here. Moving over to Skinker de Bolivar, there is a place that has an interesting name, Jekyll and Hyde. Abby, give us the scoop on this.
Yeah, this is on the east end of the Del Mar Loop. And interesting name, interesting concept. This is a 2-in-1. Latin American on one level and American steakhouse on the other. So yeah, if it's bold to open a restaurant, imagine opening 2 restaurants at once. So Jekyll's the main floor, Latin kitchen. Hyde is the underground premium steakhouse and cocktail lounge. Lounge vibes throughout, though. Business casual attire is suggested in Jekyll, but required at Hyde, which is the steakhouse. We've used the word indulgent in this conversation at least once. I think that it's the best use in this description, though. If you're like me and maybe getting tired of having to go to a restaurant where you have to pick a few small plates to make up your meal, this is not what you're doing here.
Okay.
their social media presence is boasting these really indulgent, heavy entrees. That doesn't mean standard, though. You think steakhouse. I'm looking at the bone marrow beef tartare, and it has my mouth watering. It looks really, really good, and early reviews are looking pretty good as well. Beef and steak seem to be the primo offerings in both dining rooms. And yes, Jekyll and Hyde. Arthur fans, the song's been stuck in my head too. And if you know, you know. If you don't, I won't do it. I won't. I'll spare you.
You brought up music in the past before. We'll have to do a playlist.
No,
that
please
goes
don't
along.
play this one. It'll get stuck in everyone's head.
There's a relocation, and this is one that, Jessica, you had mentioned the last time we had this monthly rundown of restaurants. And finally, Florentin is open, right?
Yeah, that's right. So Ben Paremba moved this restaurant basically down the street, a few blocks, into the Delmar Makers District space where like Steve's Hot Dogs used to be. What I think is very interesting is Paremba also has a different restaurant there, Nixta, and he just announced that he's going to be opening a wood-fired pizza place there called Del Bono. So he is really making a little like restaurant empire, like I don't know what you would call it.
Kind of like Botanical Heights was
Exactly,
before.
yeah. So that definitely really worked for Botanical Heights, and I think helped change that neighborhood. You know, we could say for the better. I'm sure some people would disagree. And I know it was interesting when, you know, Steve's Hot Dogs pulled out of that space. They said they just didn't think that the foot traffic would come back, but obviously Ben Paremba disagrees.
Mm-hmm. Before we close today, we have to make sure that we talk about some of the closures that have happened. And there is a trend, one that we have talked about in the past as being common in the restaurant business. But in the last month or so, lease expirations have really been the reason that some well-loved restaurants are closing, right, Abby?
We mentioned Bistro La Floraison in Clayton. They tried to stay in their space, but apparently were not able to come to an agreement with the building's owner.
Mm-hmm. And Brick and Bramble in Edwardsville apparently was looking at a similar problem. They were in the space that they were occupying for 3 years. And on social media, they were saying goodbye, but also very much encouraging people to continue to support locally owned restaurants and small businesses. And I think that kind of gets to the point, Jessica, that you were making about Ben Paremba. We've talked about other restaurant groups that are based here in St. Louis that are expanding. And this does a lot to support local economy. And I think it reflects something about what people are looking for. There's quality that they want to see be consistent. And just a way that folks here are making both a name for themselves and feeding people in their community. There are obviously other openings that we did not get to. You can see that online. But before we finish here, I want to pose a question to each of you. We've been doing this monthly restaurant roundup for quite some time, but we've never eaten out anywhere together. So if you had to choose a spot for all three of us to go to, and I will say, let's do this sans children, where would you like us
Aligned.
to go? Yes.
Jessica?
So we didn't talk about it this month, but there is a new ramen shop, Kishimoto Mendo, from the owner of Menya Rui, and we have long talked about how we have never been to Menya Rui, and it's so celebrated, and everyone says it's like the most delicious. So let's go to the new place and you know, try those famously hand-pulled noodles.
Yes, I am down for that. Abby?
Okay, I'm down for that. I was going to say Boarding House Bistro because we could pop open a bottle of wine and remind ourselves how elevated charcuterie can be.
Mm-hmm. And that would take us over to the Metro East. I'll put in a vote for Stella Blues because the savory Bloody Mary with a chicken wing is just something that now I can't get out of my head. So maybe next month we'll do a little bit of a report back.
Maybe all three.
All three. Abby Lurico is St. Louis Public Radio's morning newscaster and host of the Gateway podcast, and STLPR's digital editor is Jessica Rogan. Thank you for another appetite-whetting conversation.
Yes, thanks, Elaine.
Thanks, Elaine.
You can find a list of the STL area spots we talked about and more online at stlpr.org/new restaurants.
This episode was produced by Elaine Shaw.
Our audio engineer is Aaron Dorr. This podcast was mixed and edited by Aaron.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Hi, I'm Laura Hamden, and my colleague Jessica Rogan and I are your daily hosts of the Gateway newsletter. We meet with the editors in the STLPR newsroom every weekday to bring you the top local stories of the day in a quick and easy 6-minute read by 6 a.m. In an age of overwhelm, it's a refreshing, thoughtful take on the news day, if we do say so ourselves. Fine-tune your daily news habit with the Gateway newsletter. Subscribe at stlpr.org/gateway.